All right, it's the month of October, so I really wanted to do a spooky hike in celebration of Halloween. After a little bit of internet sleuthing, I found this one over here. This hike is the Hayward Plunge hike. It has a pretty gnarly urban legend attached to it. However, I wasn't able to find any historical context to support it. Nonetheless, it's a pretty scary story. The gist of it goes that Hayward Plunge is a swimming pool that is here in Hayward, California. And back in the 1960s, was a swim instructor who taught the boys swimming team. He, for some reason, goes insane one night, snaps, takes the entire boys team to the river, which we're going down to right now, and drowns all of them in the river. Locals say and claim that to this day, whenever you hear noises coming from the ravine, it is the noises of the spirits of the boys playing in the water. The other thing that people keep on talking about online is that every once in a while when you're walking down the trail, you'll start to feel cold. I haven't felt it yet, but if I do, I'll let you know. One thing that I have been able to realize, though, just doing this hike right now, is that there's a lot of really weird acoustic things that happen in a canyon, and much of that might be because of some of our wildlife friends out there. I think the other thing that's super apparent here is that teenagers probably really like to come here and do shit their parents don't know about, because even though this looks super remote, we're actually in between two very suburban subdivisions, and this whole thing is kind of an anomaly in this vast suburbia. And I think that as human beings, we always feel the need to kind of try to explain why it is that something gives us a certain feeling. And here, this spot does feel pretty creepy. And I think that because of that, it's very attractive to think, hey, let me associate this with something that's a little off kilter. And because the pool is so close, I think a story of a homicidal swimming coach that kills little kids and drowns them in the river is a pretty apt choice. So the Hayward Plunge is a municipal pool built in the 1930s, and I think what's really interesting about it is that it is architecturally very distinct from the area because, as you can see, it is Art Deco. And given the timeline that we're looking at, this is a urban legend that supposedly happened in the 1960s. We're talking about probably kids in the 1970s and 80s that are delivering this story. They're looking at this building, seeing that it looks different than the other buildings around it, and they're going to create a story that is going to explain why does this place look so different / scary from everywhere else. All right, so this here below is the river where, according to legend, this anonymous swimming coach drowned and left behind the bodies of his entire swimming team. I don't necessarily believe that this actually happened. There are no news reports of this ever happening, and it seems a little improbable. Also, I've read some reports that say that he drowned 2 people or 2 boys. Others say that he drowned the whole entire team. The other thing that's a little bit weird about this story is that one version goes that he picked them all up and left them here at the river, and then came back hours later to kill them. But for some reason, all the boys were waiting there. Regardless of whether or not the story is true or not, it is a fascinating urban legend, and it makes for a really interesting hike here in Hayward, California. So check it out, especially in this month of Spooktober.